on my first design here, I like the layout of this design. It's simple, looks matured, but the alignment, all right, I like that so much. So the alignment I'm talking about is this. So I'm going to draw my ruler out now and look at what I'm talking about. Now, simple things like this always affect the success of our design. So this is what I expect from the person that designed this. So scale this down. Should look like this. All right. The way you make the color here different from every other information here is superb. All right. So making it bigger again here is affecting the alignment. It would have been better if you use the same size with the days here. So I'm going to make everything the same size here, and you're still going to see that the layout is still going to look perfect. So I'm going to make this the same size with this, like so. And now if I take out my ruler now, you see that this is still looking okay. And I also like the color combination. I like the fact that we have red here and then we have green here, which are the two colors opposite each other on the color wheel. So another thing I think you should do here next time is this. I noticed we have this blue paper effect on the background. It would have been nice if we have this as low saturation, like this. All right, like the way I have it now. All right, this would have looked more, better than what we have there before. But the project is beautiful. Okay, so let's go straight to our next design, which is this. So the problem I have with this is the space. All right, space is also part of the design element. You use space the same way you use the way you use type, the way you use images, because it's also part of the design element. In fact, if you don't use any other thing on your design project, if you don't use any element on your design project, space is one element you must make sure you allow on your design project, which is why this is not really successful to me, because everything here looks too close to each other and is making the project too choked. All right. And again, I've also made this mistake in the past where distorting the face of people is concerned. I'm going to advise you to stop it. It's not professional. Okay, you can do this if the design has something like a perspective view, like the way we have the design for today's review. All right, I'm sure most of you have seen that design. So if that's the type of layout you're trying to achieve, you can do this, but it's not always professional to do it on people's picture. Why? Because you're going to deface the look of those people. All right, so I would advise you avoid that. Okay, make this look normal. So this should look like this. All right. All right, you should make it look like this. And also, the size of the ministers is taking more space. So to me, I think making it this smaller would have helped the look and then allow space on your design project. Okay, and let's go straight to our third design. I noticed that the contrast here is not balanced and the layout is dull. Contrast is what we use as creative to draw attention to our piece. So balancing contrast and similarity is how we make our project look effective and interesting to our audience. So whenever you're working on design projects, see how you can use similarity to draw attention to your audience by making the contrast stand out. All right, and this is how we always kill similarity in our project. When our design is too busy, when we load it with elements that are not necessary, all right, it always affects the success of our design. And another thing I want you guys to know is abstracting your focal point is another way of making your design look interesting. And the reason why I'm saying this is this: if you look at this project here, you realize that this design lacks interest. All right, and the reason I'm saying this is this: everything here just look boring. Okay, everything here looks boring, and this project is talking about art. So I expect to see more of simple, not too busy design, because most time when we're talking about drawing, you realize that when you see artists draw, they don't make their project look too busy, and that feel, that look is what you need to apply to project like this. In fact, another thing again is this: we we are judged. I always say this to the guy, that we are judged by our appearance. In graphic design, we are judged by the look of our project. When the look of our project is not looking professional, people will start looking at us like, this person cannot do good stuff for me, even if the person is a professional artist. If your design, or the design you did for that person, is not looking mature and unique, like it's not calling for attention, people won't, they will start looking at that person like someone who is not professional. They won't even look at the brand or the person like he's not the one that did the design. They'll start looking at him or her like he's not really good at what he or she's doing. So as designers, what part of what we do is we help brands sell their products. We are the one who design the look and the beauty of every brand. We are the one who help brands capture their target audience. But when we don't do good stuff for them, there's no way the goal of why the colors will be achieved. All right, so I'm going to redesign this for you guys to just have an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, and I'm going to put everything I've mentioned here together to achieve this project. Okay, so I'm going to create a new layer now, and I'm going to create a new document. Excuse me. Click on file, and I'm going to select new. So this project, I noticed that it's a flyer. All right, it's a flyer. So here in Nigeria, we are used to using A5 for our flyers. So I'm going to use A5 here, and since it's a printing job, I'm going to make sure the resolution is set to 300, and I'm going to call this art. Okay, and I'm gonna leave every other settings the way they are, and then I'm gonna click on the create button. But before I, jump into the redesigning of this, I need you guys to know this, because there's a way my layout is going to go, which is I'm going to go with the type of design that the artist is into. We have different type of artists with different way of doing their own art business. We have some who do more of the painting part, and then we have some who are into just the pencil drawing. So looking at this guy's project here now, you realize that it's the pencil type. All right, it's just the pencil type, not the painting type of artist. So what we're going to do now is to play with just two colors on our background, which is what? Black and white. All right, now these are things you need to check whenever you're working on design project. All right, like I'm sure so many of you have heard that we tell stories with design. All right, so part of how we tell stories is making our elements, our layout, work together. All right, so if this guy is a pencil type of artist, I need to make sure that my design should be around black and white. And if I'm not going to use any color, I should not use color that will overshadow the image that I'm going to use. So because of time, I've gotten the image I'm going to use for this project, and I'm going to drop the link in the description section of this video for those of you that want to, try this tutorial yourself again. So then I'm going to go back to the document I created, which is this, and I'm going to drag my exercise file in now. All right, so I'm going to drag my image, which is this. Okay, so I'm going to scale this, and so this is not the drawing we're using. Okay, because I know some of you are wondering, so why did we have this type of drawing? No, this is not the drawing we're using. So I'm going to crop out this now. So I'm going to crop this out. So the image I'm going to use here is going to I'm acting like the image I'm using here is the image from the client. All right, because it's always good to get image from the client, not internet image when it comes to project like this, because what we're trying to do here is to raise people's expectation, and we need to be very careful with the way we raise people's expectation when we go and get pictures that is not from the client, and the people who like the design now call the client and realize that the person is not up to the taste of what the design looks like. It's going to cost the person time and money. So make sure you get the right picture from the client. Okay, so I've made my crop here now, and I'm going to make a new layer here. All right, because I'm doing two crops here. All right, and so I'm going to crop this side out because I'm going to make some move here that if I don't crop this side out, it's going to affect what I want to do. Okay, so I'm going to crop this out. All right, so first off, I'm going to hold down Control and click on the thumbnail of my new part, and I'm going to hit Control J to call that out. All right, so we have just only the hand with the pencil. What I'm going to do now is to go back to my part tab. So if you can't find this your part tab here, just simply go to Windows and then look for it down here. Okay, so I'm going to hold down Control and click to create a thumbnail of or before we even create the thumbnail, let's just drag the image of our drawing. So I'm going to drag that and drop here like so. All right, and I'm going to scale this down. And so there's one thing I want to teach you guys how to do here, which is making sure that if you're trying to change the perspective of your image, I'm going to teach you guys how to achieve it, that to connect or unite with the original image, all right, or the image on your background. So this is the part you have to follow. If you look right here on the board here, if you look at the perspective of my board here, you see that it's not straight. So this part here is what we are going to use to adjust the part of our image, the perspective of our image. Okay, so I'm going to move this to right about here. All right, and I'll right click and select distort. So I'll move this and drag this up here like so, and for this side I'll drag it down, and this side I'm going to drag it down, because if you look right at the bottom part of my body, you see it's straight. All right, so I'm going to achieve the straight line here like so, and I think we are good to go now. I'm going to hit the enter key like so. All right, so this should be here, but we're losing the body, so we have to go back to the parts now and hold down Control and click on the thumbnail of my work part here, and go back to my layer panel here and click on the layer mask. All right, now the edges of our image is too razor sharp, so we need to fix that. So I'll click on the first, let's make a copy of this. All right, then I'm going to hide this, click on the layer mask of the drawing, and I'm going to increase the feather. So then I'm going to increase the feather now by pushing this up like so. So notice as I'm increasing this, I'm beginning to see that depth of field back on the drawing. Okay, the color on our body is not really okay, so let's fix that. So what I'm going to do now is to go back to the tab again, hold down Control and click to create a thumbnail, to create a marquee, excuse me, of the shape that we drew previously, and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'll fill this with the color of my background here with Control backspace. And I think we are making sense now, and I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. All right, I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit, and so on this layer, all right, I'm going to select the or you know what, let's just put this in a group, because you need to be very careful when tampering with the layer mask of your layer. I'm going to select Ctrl G to put it in a group now, and then I'm going to add a layer mask again, and I'm going to select my brush tool, because most time when they do this drawing, they don't have all these sharp corners. All right, so we need to fix that, because these are simple things that when you don't do them correctly, it always affect the the success of the design. All right, and like I always say, unity. There should be unity with the way you play with your image. Okay, so I'm going to go to my brush settings here, and I'm going to make sure that transfer is checked. So if you don't have a graphics tablet, because I have a graphics tablet here, make sure that your flow is set to 8, and then you'll be able to control the strength of your brush yourself. So then I'm going to select my brush tool and increase my brush size. All right, and I'm going to move to this side and just blend this to the layer. You see there's a problem here. This side is not balanced, so we are going to fix that later. So I'm going to blend this so just let me apply this here. Now watch out for the ear. All right, then so for this side here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this. I'll make it visible, excuse me, and add a layer mask to this again, and just all right. Then I'm going to make sure that my foreground is set to black, and I'm just going to gently brush. So another thing we can even do again is to create a new layer and just select the brush tool and sample a color from here and just add it to this side so as to just create that depth of field yourself. Okay, all right. So in order to even make this look more interesting, I'm just going to extend this to this side a bit. Okay, all right. So this is beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up a bit. Let's just move it up a bit because we're going to be adding text and all those things. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to convert this to black and white. So I'm going to click on the black and white adjustment here. It should be one black and white. So I'm going to delete this. All right. Then so I'm going to leave it as this, or let's just hide this for now. And I'm going to create a new layer and just call this brush. All right. And select the brush tool and increase the brush size, and then I'm going to sample this color here. Okay, the reason I decided to choose this darker part is because I really want my text to be visible, so I'm going to gently apply this here like so. All right, then I'm going to extend it this side right here, right here. Then I'll activate the free transform and just drag this up to right about here. Well, let's just drag this up like so. Okay, and I'm gonna drag this here. So let's make this visible now, and we have this. Now you see that we've already created room for our text. Like I said, you need to make your title more abstract. All right, so I'm gonna make my abstract now by using a display type, and the reason I'm using a display type is because this is something related to drawing. So display type is always the best for project like this. Now don't stick to just display type. All right, you can also use sans serif type when working on project like this. You can use sans serif, you can use sans for project like this, but to create more drama, it's always good to use a display type. All right, so I'm going to type this. I'm going to click and I'm going to make a copy of this by hitting Ctrl J, and this should be here, and I'll double click and put do you need and I'm going to activate the free transform and push this in like so, and I'm going to zoom in and make sure that everything is well aligned. And so this needs to go in like so. All right, so I want the R and the L here to align with each other, so my T and this side of the U and A, I decided to make them aligned with each other. Okay, so let's see, the next thing is one. All right, I'll make a copy of this, and this should align with this. All right, and I'm gonna paste it. All right, so my L and my O, A, and Y here are aligned with each other. Okay, so I'm going to select the perfect text or layer, the gifts, and the one. All right, no, and loved. Okay, so then I'm going to change the color of this to blue, because remember I said previously that I'm not going to use any color that is going to hide this here. All right, because the drawing here is the focus. So if I zoom out now, this is what we have. Okay, so what I'm going to do here now is I'm gonna make my one here align with this, because I don't like this space here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select one, and I'm gonna select this and just move this to this side. Now another cool thing about the aligning of this is this, because if you look at here, you see that my information here also align with each other. So I think this is okay for now. So I have my title ready, and I'm going to put this in a group. All right, so I'm going to position this here like so. All right, and guys, please, like I always say, make sure that you don't make your information rest on the frame of your project. All right, it's not always professional. All right, so I'm going to move this here, and I'll go to view and select new guide layout. And for this project, I'm going to activate margin, and I'm going to make this let's say 45. I don't want any column for now. All right, I'm going to make this 45, 45, 45, and 45. All right, and I'm going to select the OK button. You see, I'm very good at making my information rest on my guide. All right, so I'm going to move this here. And so looking at this, you see that this is not touching this. Most time it's not always compulsory, but for the sake of the people that always want to say, Caesar, you didn't get it right, so I've adjusted the text here. So I'm going to do the same thing here, and this needs to rest on this like so. Oops. All right, so this is good. The way you allow space on your project most time is what always have make our design look professional. So I'm going to activate the free transform again, and this should be here, and this should go up a bit like so, and I'm going to hit the enter key. So for my title here, I think I still need to make this a bit bigger, so I'm going to activate the free transform on it. See guys, you'll be doing more of going back and forth where whenever you're working on design project, please, because I notice some of us are always lazy when it comes to doing that. All right, another thing I think I need to do again here is to scale this big. All right, this need to go to right about here. All right, and maybe I should even move this out. Something is wrong here. All right, so I did not select this layer, so I'm going to activate the free transform, and I'm going to move this here like so, and move this right about here like so. Okay, now the reason why I'm making all these moves is because I've noticed that I've seen that by the time I start adding my other information to the project, this little space I have here would not give them the room to stay. All right, so I'm trying to create that room for them so that by the time I start putting them, everything will still have more space for them to breathe, because breathing, when you allow breathing around your element, is going to make it easy for people to scan through the information. All right, so please I want you guys to take note of that. All right, making sure that your element, there's always breathing space for them. It's down and zoom in again. This here. So I'm going to position this here because this is another thing I need you guys to know. I always repeat Unity. Another way you create Unity on your design project is making sure that the size of your elements, like element that are on the same group, should share the same size. So my icon here, I decided to position here because I wanted to share the same size with the icon below it. Okay, these are things that you need to watch out for. Right? So I'm going to move this here like so, and I'm going to zoom out, and we have this. All right, but there's a problem with my layout here, which is, if you look at this side, they have this empty space here. So we need to find a way to check it, to to fix that part. The reason why it's like that is because here we have 3 lines and here we have 2. So we have to find a way to now balance it. I know somebody is saying, okay, let's break this and make it 3 lines. If I break it, then this is now going to look more shorter, and that is not going to look nice. So what we need to do here is, first I'm going to put this in a group, and I'm going to call this contacts. All right, and I'm going to move this to this side. I'm going to move this here like so, and this, and this should move to this side like so. All right, and let's see if everything is well aligned. So there's a problem here. So this need to go down a bit like so. All right, so another thing I need you guys to always check again is, let's see if the space between my element here is equal. So I actually want the space between these two. All right, so then I'm going to move this here. See, so this is more wider than this. So what I'm going to do is to shift select the 2 layers, and I'm going to move this out like so. For those of you that can't see my box, I'm going to change the color to something brighter so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to delete this now because I don't need it anymore. So if I zoom out now, this is what we have. So what next thing I'm going to do is to drag my last information here in. So I'm going to paste that. What's going on? I think I selected the wrong tool. So I'm going to go back to my text tool now and pick this. So then I'm going to paste this here like so. So because there's no space for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this. So I'm going to use the free transform to rotate it and move this somewhere around here. All right, and we can even make this bigger a bit. All right, and hit the enter key. All right, so if I hit Control H now, you see how simple and well arranged our information here. Then there's another thing I almost forgot, which is if you look at the drawing here, there should be a shadow behind the pencil. So let's fix that. So I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to go straight inside the folder of the drawing. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'll hold on Alt and click on the new layer icon and call this shadow. All right, then I'm going to use my pen tool. All right, so I'm going to use my I'm going to use my pen here, and then I'll select the brush tool, and I'm going to go to the brush settings and reduce my brush size. Make sure that you're on the soft round brush, and I'm going to turn off transfer and activate shape dynamic. So if you don't have a graphics tablet and you still want to achieve this type of effect on your brush, simply go to the shape dynamic button here, and under the control select fade. Trust me guys, if you select fade, you're going to achieve the same effect. All right, so I'm going to select my pen tool here, and I'm going to zoom. I'm going to reduce my brush size, excuse me, with my square brackets, and I'm going to move here. I'm going to turn off smooth because I really want to have smooth movement of my brush, and I'm going to click here and drag like so, and I'm going to stop right about here, and then I'm going to turn off shape dynamic and turn on transfer, and just draw a shadow of the hand. So but the shadow of the hand should be lighter. Why? Because the lighter your shadow, the distance of the objects above it. All right, I know somebody is smiling there now. All right, so I'm going to apply my shadow here now, and I think I over applied the brush here, so I'm going to use the eraser tool to just take that out. So I've selected my eraser tool with the shortcut E, and I'm going to just take this out like so. Let's take this out like so. All right, and looking at if it's just the applying of the shadow alone change so many things on the design. So if you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and click the post notification bell so you get notified when I post my video. If there's anything you notice I didn't do well here, please drop a message in the comment section. And then if you know someone who needs this tutorial, share it with them, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.